Dear listeners, welcome to the lben Teahouse. Thank you for joining us. I am your old friend, the host, lben. First, I must apologize to everyone. I stepped out for a few days due to some personal matters, and as a result, our program was paused for a bit. I apologize for the interruption. As a person with a strong curiosity and a love for gossip, I inevitably end up exploring local ghost stories for the show. Tonight, I want to share a real story from a recent trip of mine. All my life, I've heard the saying, fear water from afar, fear ghosts up close, a phrase so familiar I never delved into its meaning. It wasn't until this trip that I truly grasped the depth behind those words. Friends who know me are aware that in recent years, with family and the Teahouse to tend to, I've been stretched thin. Considering my wife has had it tough following me around, I arranged a family trip to Phuket Island for some relaxation after the Chinese New Year. Upon arriving at Phuket Island, feeling a bit nervous as it was our first time abroad, I had preemptively booked a pickup service online, with someone waiting at the airport to take us directly to the hotel. The next few days' itinerary on the island also included transportation, and they boasted Chinese language service, which sounded very reassuring. Meeting the driver gave me a laugh. It turned out to be a Thai driver who spoke a little Chinese. Though not fluent, we could communicate the basics without issues. She introduced herself with, "Hello, my name is Ali. You can speak in Chinese with me, I love learning the language." Hearing her say this, my heart burst with joy. And since tipping is common in Thailand, I decided to be generous and tipped early. Seeing my generosity, Ali naturally became more willing to chat. Along the way, she pointed out the beautiful scenery, which restaurants offered good value, and which temples were the most mystical. Though our conversation was a bit strained, it was quite fun. I also took the opportunity to learn more about the local culture and people. The old saying goes, in the southern dynasties, there were countless pavilions amidst the misty rain, which sparked my imagination. Such religious scenes are rare in our country, but in this land of 1,000 Buddhas, the sight is very much a reality. Chatting away, we arrived at the hotel before I knew it. This time, wanting to spend some quality time with my wife after a while, I booked a decent resort, the Sweet Marina Beach Resort. At a little over $300 a night, it offered good conditions, including a pool that spread out generously. The driver wasn't too familiar with the area, so we entered through the back and circled around for a bit before finding the front entrance. Always keeping a curious mind, I was thrilled to be in a place with a view of the sea. Just as we reached the hotel, I noticed something particular about the pool near the back door. It was cordoned off with the kind of barrier tape you'd typically see at banks. Moreover, the difference in depth on either side of the pool was about 2 na. My friends from the south might not know how much that is, so let me use a northern expression. If you spread your hand, the distance from the tip of your thumb to your middle finger is 1 na. With keen eyes, I spotted a yellow paper by the pool that seemed to have something on it. At the time, I didn't pay it much mind since the details were hazy from the car. Our family began unloading the luggage. My wife, who knew a bit of English, went ahead to the front desk with the kids to check in, and I followed along. Unexpectedly, the driver, Ali, stopped me urgently and told me with a serious look that one must swim first at the pool behind, emphasizing several times that it must be first. I thought to myself, Thailand sure has plenty of customs. Even swimming has its order of precedence? But I agreed, dutifully promising to be careful. First it is. Just then, I noticed a confused look on Ali's face. She asked if I really understood her. At the moment, I rather cluelessly assured her I did, thinking she meant I should try the pool before others. I hastily excused myself, and as I turned and was about to leave, Ali stopped me and removed a Buddha amulet hanging from the car's rearview mirror. It was a jolly-looking Prapita amulet, which is said to have the power to ward off disasters and evil spirits. Coincidentally, as someone who runs a tea house, I'm quite familiar with relics, and I had noticed the amulet earlier. But I had always feared offending religious taboos, so I hadn't dared to ask. Unexpectedly, Ali took it off and handed it to me, solemnly instructing me to return it to her the next day, reminding me to wear it around my neck. I watched as Ali's car quickly disappeared from view, casually draping the amulet around my neck. The whole affair was quite puzzling. Turning around, I saw my wife had already completed the check-in, and I hurriedly followed her into the hotel. Still, my mind lingered on Ali's odd behavior. Could it be related to the pool I had seen near the back door? Thinking back to her words, there was an eerie feeling about them. In any case, this trip to Phuket Island was shaping up to be more than just an ordinary journey. Friends, I'm sure you're still intrigued by my story of the trip to Thailand. As soon as the luggage was offloaded, I followed the hotel staff to our room. The amenities explained by the concierge were truly comprehensive, full English service was provided, and their Thai accented English was quite charming. I like to put on airs sometimes, so I just played along with an okay, thank you, bye bye. Truth be told, my English isn't too shabby at all. The moment the server walked away, my wife nearly burst with laughter and asked if I had understood everything. I jokingly told her that I'd been eavesdropping and actually, my ears are quite perceptive. She asked me to translate what the server said, so I told her, the hotel amenities are truly impressive. Look at this fridge. It's stocked with various drinks and fruits, all free of charge. The air conditioning is automatically adjusted 24 hours a day, and if you draw the curtains, you can see the sea. Even everything in the closet is available for our use without extra charge on the beach or at the pool. This is a far cry from the small inns I used to stay at on business trips, with such spacious bathing facilities and swimming pools. It's like living a divine life. My wife laughed at me for being clueless, reminding me that it's all included in the room rate, there's nothing actually free. Hearing this, something didn't add up for me, I had paid for it after all. So I had to fully enjoy it, to maximize the value and minimize any economic loss. With this in mind, I excitedly changed into swim trunks and headed out. My wife asked where I was going, and I told her swimming. I asked if she wanted to come along. She declined, mentioning she was tired and expecting her period, so I went off on my own. Stepping out, I saw it was already 7:30. Hospitality staff greeted me in the lobby, but I didn't quite catch their English. Once outside, the music and cheers from the surrounding night market and bars made the night especially lively. At the poolside, a group of boozed-up patrons was already gathered. I thought about how people often criticize the manners of our fellow countrymen abroad. But looking at these foreigners, they didn't seem any more refined. A bunch of drunkards was hollering by the pool in a mess. Our Chinese visitors, on the other hand, seemed quite civilized, watching them with disdainful eyes. As I was about to get in the water, a foreigner choked and spat out a mouthful of water, nearly making me nauseous as well. I wondered how I could possibly swim in such conditions. Then I remembered the other pool at the back of the hotel that Ali had emphasized I should visit first. I decided to check out the quieter pool by the back door. When I got there, the pool was deserted, lights from the upper floors reflected on the crystal clear water, and the yellow paper from earlier was nowhere to be seen. I'm someone who acts decisively, so without a second thought, I dove in with a splash. I'm a good swimmer, raised playing in the waters by the Songhua River, comfortable with freestyle, breaststroke, and backstroke. We Chinese should be happy and playful wherever we go abroad, and during this Phuket night, I wanted to enjoy myself to the fullest. Friends, my peculiar journey in Phuket Island continues, with more twisted and bizarre stories unfolding. I swam blissfully in the pool, savoring the carefree pleasure of the moment, when suddenly I realized that Ali's Buddha amulet was still around my neck. With numerous types of amulets in Thailand, some aren't waterproof. A sinking feeling arose inside me. If I accidentally ruined someone's amulet, that could be a big problem. Thinking of taking it off to examine it, I looked down to unfasten the amulet. But as I bowed my head, a chill ran down my spine at the sight that greeted me. The bottom of the pool was filled with people, including both Chinese and foreigners, some even in their regular clothes. I rubbed my eyes, disbelieving what I saw. Stranger still, all of these people opened their eyes, staring straight at me. I was about to take a closer look when suddenly everything around me went pitch black. When my vision returned to the bottom of the pool, those people were swimming towards me, and some were nearly close enough to touch. The temperature of the water was as cold as the icy sea, and as I struggled to swim towards the shore, it felt like I was stuck in place, with the shore nowhere in sight no matter how hard I swam. It was as if an invisible force was pulling me down towards the bottom of the pool. In despair, I fought hard, trying to shake off something that seemed to cling to me at the bottom. It was this sudden surge of energy that made the Buddha amulet slip from my grasp and fall into the water. A series of screams seemed to echo in my ears, but at that moment, all the horrifying scenes dissipated, and the pool returned to calm. Exhausted, I managed to leave the pool but noticed that the time had mysteriously advanced to past 11 at night. I reached my room and gently pressed the doorbell. My wife, who had already been resting with the children, opened the door. Not wishing to frighten her, I kept the chilling experience to myself. That sleepless night, I tossed and turned in bed, unable to rid my mind of the terrifying images from the water. I tried hard to fall asleep, but slumber eluded me. I preferred to be engulfed in silence, striving to restore tranquility. The contradictory emotions tormented me. As I attempted to calm my mind and console myself, I suddenly felt as though someone was sitting beside the bed. My voice was trapped in my throat, my body felt immobilized, unable to move. The sense of desperation, unable to scream or struggle, was akin to the helplessness I felt in the pool, cold and tugged by unseen forces. This journey was more than just ordinary for me, it opened me up to unspeakable fear and profoundness. Friends, my adventure-filled trip to Phuket has been full of twists and turns, enough to fill a book with stories. As the saying goes, who hasn't encountered something sinister on a long walk at night? Though I pride myself on being well-versed and have narrated countless ghost stories, this time it was my turn to experience it firsthand. Ever heard of sleep paralysis? Don't underestimate it, this was my first lifelong experience. There's a belief that when faced with sleep paralysis, swearing profusely is the most effective way to dispel it. But when I tried to swear, I found that my mouth wouldn't move. Fortunately, swearing in one's mind works as well, so I mentally flipped through all the swear words I'd learned over the years. But the angrier I cursed, the more confused I felt, as if my consciousness was slowly slipping away. I kept thinking anxiously, if my wife and kids woke up to find a corpse by the bed in the morning, what then? At least others die in the pool, wouldn't my fate be even more tragic? In the blink of an eye, my consciousness was nearly gone, but just at that critical juncture, I heard my wife scream. It turned out her period had started. With a few screams, the room lit up, I breathed a sigh of relief, my body went limp, and I collapsed onto the bed for real this time, fully conscious. The next day, Ali came to pick us up, and I told her about my ordeal the night before. She listened, utterly astonished. It turned out she had been warning me to be careful about that pool, but I had misunderstood her. Ali mentioned that each year there would be maturing immortals, meaning accidents happened at the pool annually. She also relayed that the owner didn't dare to close the pool because a feng shui master had told him that doing so would affect his fortune. As long as the owner was willing to compensate monetarily, he preferred to let things continue as they were. Then I saw the Buddha amulet that had fallen into the pool yesterday being brought back by a staff member. I suddenly realized that it was the amulet that had saved my life. The Prapita amulet was still with its eyes closed, as if unwilling to witness the suffering of this world. I switched to a different hotel, prioritizing safety. Ali took me to Wat Shillong, suggesting it would help dispel any bad luck. At the end of the day, when you're away from home, you fear both deep waters and the passage of time. You may be familiar with the local customs, but you may be unaware of the traditions elsewhere. Hence the saying, fear water from afar, fear ghosts from up close. As for the sleep paralysis that night, I still don't understand what strange occurrence it was. Perhaps I have my wife's menstrual cycle to thank for the timely rescue. So, my good friend, tonight's story comes to an end. Remember to be careful when you're away from home, especially near water. There's no shortage of strange things in this world, so never dismiss the possibility of the extraordinary. With that, the story concludes. Good night. Be careful, you don't want odd tales knocking on your door.